We did it this weekend, she admitted, ready to throttle her best friend for getting her to agree to it in the first place. Live a little, Abby had said. Try something new. She'd relented, and now look where it had gotten her. And? Connor asked. Snagged any catches yet? She knew it was coming. And then, yup, he actually mimed throwing out a fishing line. Something tells me the women who message you on that app aren't too concerned about personality, she said skeptically as he pretended to reel in the fish. Personality? Mac, you're overthinking this. All you have to do is send some messages, letting the hot single guys in Gold Mountain know you're on the prowl. They'll be all over you. He made a noise that was maybe supposed to be sexy, but sounded more like a cat left out in the rain. Thanks, she said, making a face, but I'll pass. He reached out like he was going to return her phone, and then yanked it back as soon as she went for it. She was so short, all he had to do was lift it up to keep it out of reach. She practically fell on him trying to grab it. Come on, Ellinsworth, he said as she smacked his arm. Let the pros help you out. What are you looking for, anyway? Like I'd tell you. You will if you ever want your phone back. He smirked. She threw up her hands. I don't know, okay? Somebody smart, for starters. Funny, interesting, hardworking, but not at the expense of everything else. Dead sexy wouldn't hurt, as long as I'm allowed to be choosy. His hand flew to his chest. Wow, Mac, I'm flattered. I had no idea you felt that way about me. Oh, and not a man whore, she added, giving him an obvious once-over. Did I mention that? See, that's where you're making your mistake. We man whores are the ones who make life worth living. Mack rolled her eyes. And yet somehow I managed to have a pulse without you. Connor slid her phone into his back pocket and stepped forward, one hand suddenly on her hip so she couldn't get away. He pressed 2 fingers against her neck where she was sure he could feel the leap of her pulse, and then his palm slid down to cover her heart. Not quite her breast, he wasn't that cheeky, but it was close. Would you look at that? He said, head cocked, looking down at her, as though making some fascinating impartial observation. Your heart is racing. What the hell was he doing? She couldn't think with him standing so close. She stammered out something about jogging there, even though she was wearing black boots, jeans, and a slouchy button-down shirt, and was highly allergic to running. Liar, Connor said with a grin. It was just because she'd been surprised. That was why her face felt flushed, her whole body on edge. There was only one way out of this. Not to run screaming, but to dive right in. You smell nice, she murmured, and hooked a finger through his belt loop, giving a tug. Her face was almost to his chest. Another inch, and she'd feel the smooth, hard plane of muscle against her cheek. If she raised her chin, she'd be kissing him. He looked completely stunned, which was exactly the point. Her little stunt bought her just enough time to reach around and snatch her phone from his pocket. Mac 1, Connor 0. Thanks, she said cheerfully, waving the phone in his face as she shoved him away. So she'd grazed his ass a little more than was strictly necessary in the process. They both knew this was just joking around. She pulled up the app so she could log out before he could see how many pictures of him she'd looked through. Ouch, he said, rubbing his shoulder where she'd pushed him. That was cold. I should have known you'd be sneaky. Man whores, she repeated. Not the brightest bunch. Admit it, Connor started, and Mack froze, waiting for what he was going to say. Admit you were checking me out. Admit what you want.